Go ahead and introduce yourself and the DFL and its structure, maybe. You know what the opportunity is between up to the election and between cycles here. What is this DFL thing?
Hi, I'm Ken Martin. I'm the chair of the DFL. And here in the next 48 days, there's a lot of opportunities for people to get involved and make their voice heard. Not just on the local level, but certainly on the state level. We have a number of important elections. Here in the 8th District alone, with Congressman Nolan running against Jim Kravac, there's opportunities through those campaigns to get involved, but also at the local level for people to really make their voice heard through local elections, through local parties. This is the time right now to get involved, to become engaged, to get active around candidate campaigns. But what we know in political parties is that the reality is that the campaigns will come and go, and we'll get our candidates elected to office. But what we have to do is remain engaged. We need to remain involved, because what we need to do is not only make sure that we continue to push forward and advocate for the positions that we believe in and the values we believe in. We also need to hold these elected officials, some of whom we just elected, but also these Republicans, accountable to the things that we believe. And so in the coming months after the election, it's very important that we don't become complacent, and so we've got to stay engaged. The party process allows us to do that through the precinct caucuses, which are coming up, through the local county units, organizations, as well as through our state central committee. All of those are open to the public. I would encourage you to come and participate. We have committees that are that the state central committee have, committees where we're seeking input from a whole host of people from around the state, and we need more people from the 8th District and from Greater Minnesota to participate in those committees. The reality is oftentimes a lot of the folks who participate are from the metro area, and we need more representation from Greater Minnesota. So if any of you are interested in participating, please, please, please call the DFL, contact folks you know in the local party, and tell them that you want to be more involved and that you want to serve on these committees. We need the help, we need the ideas, we need the new energy.
So what's the schedule after the election? When are the next big public meetings in the party? And
Yep. We're planning a central committee for sometime in December, location to be determined, and then in February there's what's called a business conference meeting. And at that business conference, all 5 of the state party officers are elected, so there's an opportunity there if anyone's interested in running for state party officer. But at that business conference there'll be a lot of discussion about the future of the party and which direction we go in, so we're going to be seeking input there. And then beyond that, there's a number of different opportunities through next year, through precinct caucuses at the local level in Minneapolis and St. Paul around some of those local races. Some other jurisdictions around the state will have precinct caucuses in the off year. But what I would encourage people to do in 2013 is to do a couple things. One, as I said, is to continue to agitate, continue to organize, to continue to advocate. Get out there and work hard on those issues, and keep all of us accountable as DFLers to those values. But 2, most importantly, is if you are interested in getting more deeply involved in the party, is to contact your local party unit officer. Tell them that you're new or that you're interested in becoming involved in the party, and tell them what you want to do, and they will hopefully get you roped into the party in a real serious way. Now if they don't, please call me at the DFL headquarters or call other officers and let us know so we can help get people involved in this party. We desperately want new people in this party. We desperately want new ideas and fresh energy.
so what are the expectations for meetings at local levels, state level? These are open meetings?
Yes. All of our meetings at the DFL are open meetings. And even if you don't belong to the committee, you can come and watch and listen, and certainly from time to time provide input. Each jurisdiction is different. Some allow people that are not elected members to participate freely in terms of discussion. Others, you have to be elected to the body. But the reality is all of our meetings are open to the public, and you can come in and listen, and certainly watch and share your input at times at some of these meetings. For the State Central Committee and for the State Executive Committee, those are all open meetings. We certainly welcome people's participation.
So what are the advantages of being involved in a political party versus a donor to a SuperPac?
Yeah, I think here's the advantages. Here's what political parties mean.
Political parties, a super PAC will never be able to do what a political party does, because a political party is their fuel and energy comes from volunteers. It comes from the grassroots. We're out there knocking on the doors. We're out there making the phone calls. We're out there having the one-on-one conversations with people, which are going to change the hearts and minds of voters. Not the millions of dollars that flood the airwaves in TV commercials, or flood the mailboxes in mail, or flood the radio airwaves in radio ads. Those things that are these super PACs do will not change the hearts and minds of voters. The reality is that those super PACs will never be able to replicate the grassroots energy that is found in political parties. And so political parties will never go away. But we know that the fuel for political parties is not big money, is not contributions, although we certainly appreciate it. The fuel for political parties is grassroots energy, people getting involved at the local level and getting involved in a meaningful way, changing their community one vote at a time. Operate. But the reality is, someone who gives $100 to the DFL is no more important than, in my book, than someone who is out knocking on 100 doors. The reality is they're both needed, they're both equally important, but for us, we know that the way we win elections is the way Paul Wellstone said we win elections. We go neighbor to neighbor, person to person, door to door, we wear out our shoe leather, and we talk to people about our values in this party. That's the way we win elections.
How do people, like, what sort of expectations should people have for results for their contributions, either financial or in terms of time? And how do people, they don't get what they want right away, why would they keep coming back?
Well, you got to keep coming back, and change is difficult in organizations, in all organizations, including the DFL. But we know that the DFL has to change, and if people have suggestions, concrete ways that we can make this party stronger and better, I want to hear them, certainly. But you know, we can't get discouraged. Change doesn't happen overnight. We know that this party is an imperfect party, but we also know there are great strengths in this party. What we need to do is find a way to improve on the things we need to improve on, take the best ideas out there, the best suggestions, and try to make them a reality. And I'd ask people to not get discouraged. I know it's easy to at times, but to continue to advocate, to continue to speak up, and to realize that, you know, at the end of the day, this party is everyone's party that believes in the DFL and believes in our values and our platform. And just because you're either elected to the Central Committee or not, my job is not just to represent those DFLers who come to the State Central Committee meeting. My job is to represent all people who call themselves DFLers. And so I would say, whether you're elected to the Central Committee or Executive Committee or not, you're a DFLer and you have just as much of a voice in this party as anyone else from my perspective.
So Beltrami County is where we are, and we've had some famous disagreements and snafus in process in the last 6-8 years. What's your sense of that history? Has it been?
Well, I don't know a lot of the background on what happened here. I just know the snippets, so I couldn't tell you. But I will tell you again that we are an imperfect party. No party is perfect. There's bound to be mistakes. And I would say that, you know, we have to recognize at the end of the day that this is a volunteer party. And, you know, we need to do a better job, as we were talking about earlier, of training. Not only training our candidates, but training volunteers, training staffers, training leaders in the party to just do a better job of being more open, more transparent, and finding ways to make sure that this party is truly reflective of the diversity of ideology that we have.
Absent face-to-face mentorship or personal invitation from a party officer, what can people do to prepare themselves to contest for their ideas or their communities in the structure of the DFL?
Well, I think, look, it's just going to take a grit and a determination to realize that, again, that institutions like the party that in many ways are set in their ways and the status quo, it takes time to change. And so the way you prepare yourself is recognizing that you know, you have to stand up, be counted, so to speak, and make your voice heard, and continue to do that until you get enough people to agree with you, and those people get enough power within the party, you build enough power to actually make this change happen. And so, you know, it goes back to just, you know,
organizing 101, which is, you know, as I said earlier, one person can make a difference. But a journey of 1,000 miles, as Confucius said, starts with one small step. And so you've got to take that first step as a person to try to make that change. And then you've got to get other people to join you in that journey. You've got to get other people taking those steps together and bring people together, build power in this party to make change. And, you know, as I said, I'm looking for ideas. I'm looking for ways to strengthen this party. And so anyone that has an idea of how we can do that, my door is always open. And, you know, I want to create the space for people to do that.
Versus primaries.
Well, I am a 1,000% believer in precinct caucuses. And our caucus system has lent itself to the strongest grassroots political party in the nation. And because of that, I don't think... now, let me just say this, though. There are some challenges with the caucus system. We've seen declining participation year after year. We do need to rejuvenate it. And what I've done is I put together a 25-member commission chaired by Representative Steve Simon and Senator Ann Rest to actually look at how we strengthen our caucus and endorsement process, how we rejuvenate it, we get more people involved, and we make it relevant again. And if we do that, we're actually going to be able to strengthen our endorsement process through that. And so this 25-member commission is looking at some of these issues right now. And I have no interest, absolutely no interest. There are some in this party who say we just should go directly to a primary system and scrap the caucus system. I have no interest in that at all. We need to defend our endorsement. We need to strengthen our caucus process. We need to use it for what it was intended for, which is as this great process to get people involved in the grassroots. That's the strength of our party, and as long as I'm chair, we're never going to go away from that. But we also have to recognize, Soren, that it's not a perfect system, that there are some flaws there. And what we need to do is find a way to strengthen it and modernize it and change it in a way that is relevant in people's lives again. So we're looking at ways to make it easier for people, you know, of different means of income and different transportation capacities and different geographic limitations to participate in the caucuses, right? We're looking for ways to actually make people's voice at the precinct caucus level more determinant in the endorsement of our candidates than you know, just at a state convention or a Senate district convention, for instance, right? There's ways to actually empower people more through the caucus process, and that's what I'm looking at right now in this commission circuit. If any one of your viewers are interested in participating in that also, all those meetings are open, and they are always looking for testimonies. So anyone who has ideas, they can either send in written testimony to us, or they can come down and give oral testimony.
Do the changes that have been made so far make the party more resilient for redistricting 10 years from now? Or do you think that was part of the thinking? And there's a lot of change afoot right now with new party units, new party numbers, especially in the metro.
You know, I haven't thought about that, to be honest with you. All I know is that our party is changing, that the state's changing, and we have to be more. Just inclusive. We have to find a way as a party to reach out in a more meaningful way. And part of that is removing structural barriers that exist in the party for true, full representation and participation from people in communities of color and other underrepresented communities, and also people in geographic areas around the state. And so we've got to remove those barriers. And I think if we remove those barriers, we're going to be in a position to actually truly have an inclusive party where people are building power at the seat of power, or building power within the party, but also have a seat at the table of power in this party. And that's what I'm trying to do with some of these changes. So.
Great, thank you very much for your time. Looks like your staff wants to collect you.
I think we got a long ride back, so.
We got a long trip ahead of us.
Thanks, Soren. Thanks for the time, man.